You don't need a weather forecaster to tell you what's coming. One way or the other, winter. While there might be an occasional upward tick in the temperature, we all know from experience that it's going to go down. And beginning today and continuing for a couple of weeks, the liturgy of the Word for our weekend masses mirrors nature. But we don't talk about winter as much as we talk about death. We speak not of short days, but the end of our days. And today the precise issue is the resurrection of the dead. That is the subject of the gospel as well as the first reading. Let's focus on the gospel and see what this might say to us in our lives today. According to the structure of Luke, Jesus has finished his journey to Jerusalem. He's teaching in the temple where some Sadducees asked him a question. The Sadducees were a relatively small but influential Jewish party who believed only what was written in the first 5 books of the Bible. They had no use for the other books or for any oral tradition or development of doctrine. And since there was no clear teaching about resurrection of the dead in the first 5 books of the Bible, in their mind it does not exist. They tried to embarrass Jesus by citing a law from the second book, the book of Deuteronomy, that instructed a brother to marry the widow of his brother if he had died without any children. And if a child was born of the union, it would be considered the brother's child. His name would continue. So they gave Jesus the hypothetical case of 7 brothers, all marrying the same woman. After death, they ask, if there really is a resurrection, whose wife will she be? Basically, Jesus tells them that they don't have a clue about what life after death is all about. He says that you have it all wrong if you think life after death is going to be a similar life that we have here on earth. It's going to be transformed, changed, and nobody will marry. What we receive in the gospel is a reaffirmation of our belief in life after death. It really is at the core of our belief system. Just as sure as we are that winter comes after fall, we know that death comes after life. The one thing that we all have in common is that we shall die. We don't know when, most don't know how, but that we will die remains a basic fact of life. But just as winter comes after autumn, spring comes after winter. And so we believe that life follows death. And just as we know we must live through this winter, we also need to live through our death to get to this new life. Today's gospel is inviting us, among other things, to ponder our own limits and at the same time to reaffirm the gift of unlimited life that is ours in Christ. These two opposites must be held in a healthy tension so that we can hopefully know what is really important in this life and what we ought to do with the limited time that we have, and know that Christ invites us beyond this life to a new one. Mary Oliver writes in her poem, A Summer's Day, "Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" A great question for us all, no matter what age we are. What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?